What's up everyone, Acid Glow here. Recently, there's been a new DLC to the video game Predator Hunting Grounds. Isabel from the movie Predators makes a return as a new playable character, and she comes with a specific weapon and cool customization items. Along with that, there's also a new series of OWLF tapes. They provide us with some new lore around the last two Predator movies in 2010 and 2018. Along with some connections to other events. They are documented by Agent Sean Keys. If you haven't seen the first 20 tapes, then I will leave a link to that video so you can get caught up. Before we start, leave a like on the video to help me out, and subscribe to see more content around the Predator universe. Now let's begin. Dutch, it's Sean. By the time you receive this recording, I'll have joined Stargazer as head of xenobiology. I know you've got reservations about Stargazer, so do I. But by offering me a position on the project, they've given us a window into their operations. After what they did to us, it's an opportunity I have to take. I won't lie, it's more than just keeping an eye on guys who shut down the OWLF. I want to be there for whatever discoveries they make. I need to know what they learn, and I need to be there when they learn it. I know I sound obsessed, and maybe I am. Maybe we both are. You couldn't walk away, and neither can I. But I'm not a soldier. I'm a scientist. I can't do what you do, but I can do this. Additional tapes to follow. Sean Keys, out. The last few months have been frustrating. You'll be happy to know our efforts to sanitize OWLF headquarters were largely successful. Stargazer is years behind the curve regarding the alien threat, but that's all I can report. Xenobiology isn't as respected as it was in the OWLF. I submit research data, but I don't know what happens to it. They strangle all interdepartmental communication, so the right hand has no idea what the left hand is doing. Directors seem either disinterested or incompetent. It's hard to tell. All inquiries outside their personal interests are ignored, leaving so much data and discovery untouched. It's safe to say the only real detective here is provoking predator encounters. It's the only data I've submitted that's gotten any kind of traction. I know I'm light on actionable intel, but sooner or later, some stuff is going to hit the fan. When it does, everything will come into sharp focus. Stargazer has identified the hot zone phenomena. I was hoping it would take them longer, but sooner or later, they were going to correlate environmental data with localized conflicts, knowing that the predators hunt armed combatants in hot, humid locations has significantly narrowed their field of search. But we've crossed the threshold from inconvenient discovery to horrifying application. Someone in logistics let it slip that a deep cover team had been dispatched somewhere in Central America. Days later, a known cartel war goes completely crazy. A week of the most violent exchanges they've seen in years. We can't know for sure if there was a predator event, as trophy claiming isn't unheard of in some of the more ruthless cartels, but there was a report of an enforcer who was missing his head and spine. When the directors read that report, I suddenly became very important to them. They wanted to know how we can provoke them. How violent do the battles need to be? What kind of people would make the best bait? This wasn't a one-time deal. Dutch, they're not going to stop. I've gotten myself into something here, and I don't know what to do. I was right. They've ramped up the use of provocation teams, not just in the Americas, but everywhere. I don't even know the full scope anymore. It's terrifying. I've been thinking about my dad a lot, hoping that if I put myself in his shoes, I might know what to do. In some ways, we were a lot alike, but the ways we were different, they're significant. Clearly, I inherited his desire to be a part of the big picture, but the ways we went about it are night and day. He was so worldly, so sure his next move was the right one, even when it wasn't the most ethical. I'm not that man, but I'm starting to wish I was. I know it's not helpful to think like this. I'm who I am now. I might not be him, but he taught me to work with what I have, not what I wish I had. To stand up and do the right thing, even if it means getting my hands dirty. I know taking down Stargazer is the right thing to do, and I don't know how dirty my hands can get, but I'm going to find out. God damn it. I was just in a heads of department meeting with the directors. They're not content with just poking the bull. No, they want to sell the bull a damn machine gun. Apparently, they lost too many agents starting skirmishes, but that isn't the real problem. Those are just human lives. The real problem is the conflicts don't last long enough. They need to stretch them out, to keep the Predator window open as long as possible. I tried to steer them off it. I really did. I told them the data doesn't follow, and then that person from logistics drops his brilliant idea. They could sell arms to the losing side of a conflict, and if they start to win, we just sell arms to the other side. We just keep the meat grinder going until these aliens show up. I can't let this keep happening. The larger consequences of this kind of instability are global. I have to tell someone. I don't know how much of the DoD is in on this, so I have to take it to the office of the Inspector General. If they don't do anything, well then I guess we're just screwed. I'm going to do it. I'm going to the OIG with everything I know. I'll need proof, so I've put a drive together with a copy of everything I could get my hands on. The only problem is getting it out. I'm stripped and scanned by security when I arrive and when I leave. We're not allowed any personal items. Everything is provided by Stargazer. These recordings have been small enough to get out on a micro SD card I've been hiding under my tongue, but the amount of data I have on the agency requires something larger. There is only one conventional way I can think of to smuggle this thing out, but it might be a bit uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Oh darn. Is it still recording? Cool, whatever. So remember when I talked about that stuff hitting the fan? Well, it hit the fan and now we've got stuff everywhere. About 40 minutes before the alert, NORAD detected a high-altitude object appearing over northwestern Mexico. It maintained an erratic trajectory until it crashed some 26 kilometers southwest of El Fuerte. Normally, Stargazer isn't in the loop for a downed aircraft, but when I say it appeared over Mexico, I mean it wasn't there and then it was, which suggests stealth technology. Drones dispatched over Mexican airspace provided aerial photography, but the crash site is heavily forested. Traeger is already boarding a cargo plane bound for El Fuerte with an extraction team. That's all I know right now. Jesus, the last time we even got a glimpse of a Predator spacecraft was in Los Angeles. Imagine what we could learn. Everything is potentially on the table. Interstellar travel, long-term environmentals, stealth tech, energy production, and that's just the things I can imagine. Who knows what impossible things might wait for us out there. We pulled a live Predator from the wreck. We brought it back here. It's in the lab restrained and hopefully sedated. With everything I learned from post-mortems in the OWLF, I took my best guess as to what would keep the specimen unconscious. It's all just so insane. We had protocols against this at the OWLF. We do not retrieve live specimens. Their whole damn existence is a hostile, violent mystery to us. Why the heck would we bring one home? Oh God, I wish I were excited. I should be excited, but I'm not. This might be an unpopular opinion, but after so many cadavers, there's only so much more a live specimen can tell you. Whatever we could learn won't be worth the risk, especially not to me. The only thing of value to us in a live Predator is in its head. Language, culture, intentions, interstellar knowledge, why they love skulls so much. That's the valuable stuff. But it's all too dangerous. We have no idea what it can do, how much harm it can cause. I wish I could poison its IV, end this nightmare before it begins. It woke up! And everything is ruined. Stargazer is down. The Predator escaped and we suffered heavy casualties. I took a stray round to the abdomen. It didn't pass through. I duct taped the wound to stop the bleeding, but I'm guessing penetrating trauma to the bowel, best case scenario, 2-3 hours. If I can get to a hospital, I can make it. Damn. Sorry, Dutch. I kinda messed this one up. Focus. Okay, here we go. If I don't make it, there is a flash drive duct taped into the toe of my left shoe. It's encrypted. Use the last active OWLF key we gave you to unlock it. Everything we need to take out Stargazer, whatever's left of it, is in there. It was good knowing you, Dutch. If I don't see you again, I'll tell Dad you said, hey. I know it's been a while since my last contact, but good news. I'm not dead. My recovery took time, and my deposition to the OIG took longer. I'll save you the details and get straight to the point. DARPA doesn't want any of this going public. Their incompetence, lack of oversight, the stacks of dead bodies and alien life, the whole mess would get them abolished. They'd hoped to turn Stargazer around by installing Quinn McKenna as director, but his experience is limited. And Stargazer's rot was baked into everything it did. There's no saving it. I briefed them on our success in the OWLF. They weren't thrilled to find out what we'd been hiding from them, but they weren't in any position to throw stones. It gave me some leverage, so I pitched reinstating the OWLF. We get back to business, and I keep their dirty secret under my hat. But only if I'm made director. It was a risky move, but they're backed into a corner. So I'm putting a team together. If you want in, I'm sure you'll find me. The OWLF is up and running. We've got a skeleton crew right now, but we're growing fast. We've set up in Stargazer's old base, which is morbid, but necessary. We need to break down their whole operation as we build up our own. Their tech and resources were impressive, so we're taking those, but their records were awful. I can't tell if they were trying to hide things internally or just didn't care about protocol. Either way, this place is a rat's nest that will take months to unravel. Externally, Stargazer isn't dead. I've received activity reports of continuing arms dealing using the same name. One of the little tidbits the OIG learned during their investigation was that many of the directors of Stargazer were former arms manufacturers or lobbyists for arms trade. We have no idea what kind of resources they had outside of Stargazer, but clearly it was enough to stay in business. I know you're hesitant about joining the OWLF, but we could really use you here. None of this is over. I think it's about to get much worse. We've been cataloging Stargazer's Predator tech, and we found an odd artifact in deep storage, a gauntlet with the unusual name Predator Killer. Preliminary tests were interesting at first. The gauntlet projects an expanding armor over the wearer in a visually impressive feat of nanoinformatics, but tests prove the armor to be brittle and vulnerable to small arms fire. There are 6 independent targeting modules for 2 large plasma casters. Any attempt to charge and fire the weapons overloaded the suit, returning it to its nascent gauntlet form. Getting the gauntlet to remain active has been difficult. Whatever power source it uses is only good for about 24 seconds. The best explanation we have is that we're looking at some kind of early prototype, one whose efficacy is still under review. Stargazer has been bolstered by a number of successful operations in the last few months. We'd hoped to strangle their funding until it dried up, but recent influxes of cash and resources has made them self-sufficient. Given the danger posed by Stargazer, we've been folded into a direct action coalition with a military project codenamed Voodoo. They'll have the autonomy to deploy ad hoc into hotspots to deter Stargazer ops as they happen. The OWLF will work hand in glove with Voodoo should any extraterrestrial events occur. From what I've heard, this might be old news to you. There are rumors of some old jacked soldier with an accent assisting Voodoo already. Looking at their roster, I've recognized a few guys from the old days. Good to see you've got eyes on the inside, and I'm glad you put a new team together. The OWLF is, as always, a loyal friend. This stuff's getting beyond my pay grade. I just received a debrief from Voodoo Point Man, Zeus. His team hit a Stargazer forward operating base in Bolivia. The problem is, Stargazer wasn't there. It was some private military contractor. We know for a fact that this was a Stargazer op, which means they're farming this stuff out to PMCs now. At first, I thought it was to keep their hands clean, but the PMC didn't even know why they were there, totally in the dark. They only had the one order: secure the location and engage local guerrilla groups on site. You can imagine the kind of mercenary that would attract. Disgraced soldiers with itchy trigger fingers. Stargazer isn't just supporting wars, they're starting them. The worst part, it's working. Predator activity has jumped 15%, localized exactly where Stargazer has been sticking its fingers. I hope you're on this, Dutch, 'cause if you're not, you need to be. I thought about keeping this from you, but you deserve to know. Cleopatra was sighted in Sierra Leone. The intel's good. She's on Earth, Dutch. I'm telling you this knowing I can't stop you from tracking her down. You've got a score to settle, and I get that. But you need to think about the bigger picture. We can't afford to lose you. Through skill, bleeding-edge science, and dumb luck, you're still alive. You've cheated death so many times. Please, for the rest of us, don't go after her alone. If you have to go out there, cash in a few favors. Take the team. Hell, tell me what you need and you'll get it. I'm asking you, begging you, to let us have your back. You want to hear something weird? Earlier this year, we launched the Canis-1 Deep Space Reconnaissance Satellite, taking what we've learned about Predator spacecraft. We hope to detect their incursions before they stepped foot on Earth. We were still fine-tuning the system when it detected its first anomaly. An object matching Predator design modes is passing Venus on an intercept course with Earth. Naval response teams have been mobilized to the projected landing zone, but it's not likely to land for another 36 hours, so we pointed every dish we could at it. We got a signal. SATCOM identified Predator communications from the craft, but they're directed at Earth. For the first time, it seemed like they were trying to communicate with us, but xenolinguistics told us that nothing in the feed made sense. It was the Predator language, but reduced to 3 symbols. We thought the signal was corrupted, but thank God someone from cryptography was in the room. It wasn't random, it was Morse code, and when we parsed it out, it read, "I am human." Dutch, if you thought the last transmission was wild, allow me to blow your goddamn mind. We found a craft deep in the Mexican jungle. Its pilot, human, very human. Isabel Nissenbaum, elite Israeli Defense Force sniper. We called the IDF only to find out she was declared AWOL, which is a shame for a lot of reasons. Dutch, I need you to know, I'm serious when I say that at 1200 meters, she might be one of the most deadly people on Earth, which only makes more sense when we found out she'd spent the last year on another damn planet being hunted by predators. They have a whole planet reserved for hunting people, and from her account, of 8 people, all proven killers, she's one of 2 who escaped. She has no memory of how she was abducted. No memory, Dutch. They're snatching people right under our noses. I mean, if we had no idea this was happening, what good are we? We're losing this fight. For every dollar Stargazer spends stirring up trouble, we spend 10 hunting them down to clean up their mess. We don't have the global presence needed to make a significant dent in their operations. International relations are so tense that by the time we get authorization to deploy, Stargazers already got what they wanted. We take out some of their guys or some minor PMCs, but their op is over. Counter operations are a no-go. Voodoo can only do so much. and their casualties are taking a toll on the whole outfit. We've looked at the numbers. They're bad across the board. The DoD wants to replace the directors, and I can't think of a good reason why they shouldn't. Unless something unprecedented happens soon, the OWLF will be in new hands, and I don't know if I can stomach losing it again. It's already happening. The board at the OWLF is being replaced. I've been asked to stay on, but I don't see the point. My family's given everything they had to protect our world, and now it's all going up in smoke. I want to believe we've made things better, but I don't know if that's true. We thought we were guarding the world, but half the time, it feels like we were asleep on the job. You were right. The government can't move fast enough to rise against such an existential threat. I think it's time to let go, leave all of this behind. But I'm not done yet. If anything, I'm more focused. When everything else fades away, the path becomes clear. If you're going to keep up this fight, then I want in. You're going to need everyone you can get. So that covers all of the new OWLF tapes within Predator Hunting Grounds. I like how they were able to bring back Isabel, but it doesn't say if this connects to the comic book sequel of the 2010 Predators movie, where Isabel and Royce were still fighting other predators on the game preserve planet. There's also nothing mentioned about Royce, but I'm hoping they will bring him back as a playable character in the future and some lore as well. But if you want to see the full story to that comic book, I will leave a link to that video. It also goes into a bit more detail how they ran some tests on the Predator Killer suit, something that was shown for a few seconds in the movie. Even though they did not uncover all of its secrets, it does give us a little more information about it. When I covered the story of Dutch returning to the franchise, there was a part in the story where he went up against a female predator and lost, but she allowed him to live. It seems as if Dutch still wants to fight that predator again. He has a score to settle. But I do recommend you check out that video to see the full story. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like on it. And if you want to see more content like lore videos around the Predator universe, subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. This is Acid Glow or Carlos, and I will see you in the next video.